Hey Val, I see you. Hey lady, thanks for the message. So it's funny. So this is my first time going live on YouTube, um, and I'm using the software. You got to stream to the software, and I didn't even realize. I thought it was gonna go live automatically. So I'm sitting here waiting, and it's like it's showtime. I'm like, yay, I'm live, and I was not. So, um, thanks for joining. I see Val in here. You know what? I don't even know if you guys are in here unless you send me a message. So send me a chat in the box. Let me know if you're here. Let me know where you're from. And then I'll do my thing in just a moment. I see 2 are in here, but I don't know if that's including me and Val. But anyway, hi! That's my guy. Hey, Andrew. So let me tell you, Andrew Kavanaugh, Val, I don't know if you know him, but if you don't, you should. But how can you not? But he's amazing. And the reason I know the software that I'm using, because I've had to use OBX, I always wanted to go on live and would never go live because of the fact of how difficult that software is. He introduced me to StreamYard, and it's like a dream. I still don't know everything about it yet, but it's a dream. So I'm going to go ahead and get started in a second, but I have to put these sunglasses on. And the reason I got to put these sunglasses on is there's a light right behind the camera, and I'm super light sensitive. So it is not to be cool as I would like to be. That's not the reason I'm going to wear it. So I'm going to put these on. Val from Atlanta. Yep. Andrew from California. All right. So well, I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm Andrea Baslasin. You guys know, but just for people who don't know, I'm Andrea Baslasin, and I'm an instructor. I instruct graphic design and web design for community college and also for the government. Thanks. He said, cool. He loves the shades. Awesome. I love to teach. I love to teach and design programs. So and also love children, but the way to combine all of that was to teach about graphic and web design. So I've taught at several colleges, and actually all the colleges that I've taught at are colleges that I've attended. So that part's pretty cool. And now I used to teach for the government. Now I'm the manager of our big learning web portal, which is a site that's built for the military, to train them in certain things. So that's me. That's what I do. That's me in a nutshell. How this came about is with my students, and you'll see their videos that are up here that are posted from, our design classes and stuff like that. And I wanted to figure out a way to make it unique. And I started getting into the Cricut, like making t-shirts and stuff like that. And I love it. And it's pretty cool. And so being involved in that, I was like, they have their software that they use, which is Design Space. But I wanted to use my software that I love, which is Illustrator and Photoshop. And so I wanted, and there are difficulties in using it because sometimes it confuses Design Space. So what happened was I started using Illustrator and Photoshop and figuring out ways to make it work. And through several tutorials, through learning myself, I love that. So I wanted my angle to be using these programs inside of Design Space. Well, what happened from that is I started using Design Space for certain things, and Design Space actually became easier because I didn't like it. I'm a designer. Why would I use Design Space? All the fun stuff. How our egos get. And I started liking Design Space as well. So now I do videos for both. So I get a lot of requests through Etsy. I have an Etsy store. And when people buy my template, I usually give them tutorials about it. So those are some of the videos that you'll see on the site that are videos from those customers, and they'll send me messages and they'll say, hey, can you do videos on this? Hey, can you do videos on that? So I started doing the videos, and I was like, and someone was like, hey, have you thought about going live? And I was like, yeah, but going live is scary sometimes. Even though I teach online and I teach a whole bunch of students, it's scary when you really just don't, you know, you just don't know. So also the other brave thing that I want to let you guys know. So I'm home. Another reason I didn't go live in the past as well is because I'm home and I live in a family of there, you know, there were 7 of us here. Now my son's in the kitchen waving, saying hello. But now there are 6 of us here majority of the time. And so, you know, trying to do that while you have family and all the noises in the background, like you just heard the kitchen and stuff like that, is also a deterrent for that. But in any event, we are here so that I can show some techniques of how to create something in Illustrator, which Vel is like this Illustrator guru, so it's gonna be interesting. But how to create stuff in Illustrator, and it's at a very, very beginner level, and then make it work inside of Design Space. All right, I'm looking at the chats. I love this. Oh my gosh, StreamYard is cool. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. I'm not seeing some of the faces. Oh, my light just went out. See that? It's that dark. It has to be. I think, okay, let me see. I think it goes out after a certain amount of time. I'm not sure. Oh, but anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And what you should see, oh, it's there. Okay. I don't know why my light keeps going out, but it's not a big deal. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, there we go. And okay, here we go. Application window. I'm gonna share Illustrator. All right, and instantly you're hit with my logo for Dialati, which is my store. So tell you a little bit of background about that too. I had to figure out how to put this in Cricut because the initial logo is super intricate, right? There are, if I hit, let's see, if I hit Command Y, you will see that it's very intricate. It's a whole bunch of blends. There are a whole bunch of shapes, and there are shapes inside of shapes. Then there are color layers. And then I use also the graphic symbols. So anyone who knows anything about Illustrator knows that those are like some of the heavy things that you use in there that make your design life easier and make it cool. However, if you try to bring this into Design Space, the complexity of it, Design Space is like, nope, don't know what you, nope, I can't do anything about that. I don't know what to do. And in Design Space, we bring it in as SVGs. And now this will save as an SVG. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. I saved it as an SVG. Then you'll go to bring it into Design Space. And Design Space is like, nope, it'll bring in parts that it recognizes, parts that it understands, and then the other parts it's just gonna toss. All right. So, and then another thing to think about when you're designing. So one, you want to think about the complexity of the object that you're designing. 2, you want to think about the layering, because a lot of times you're layering when you're cutting vinyl. And to sit there and cut out these layers and layers and layers of vinyl, and then you got to place it exactly where it needs to be. Listen, if it is too difficult, and I also have a full-time job, I got other things to do, this isn't what I'm doing 24/7. So if it's not what you're doing 24/7 and you want to make your life easier, you'll want to think about the layers that you have, how many layers, how intricate those layers are. Because in this one, it brought into Design Space, this little red area of the mask, they were separated. So that meant it was drawing out this and it was drawing out this area. And if you're a person who likes to save money and save on vinyl, then you're not going to want to just print that, like this is the layer I'm talking about, this lower layer, the dark red. You're not going to want to print out that whole mask because it's going to be hidden by that lighter layer. Like there's just so many things that go into play. So you're definitely going to want to think about the complexity. How complex is this design? So what I had to do in order to be able to print it is I had to take out some of that. So if I hit Command Y now and you look at this, you're just looking at how much simpler it is, right? Those lines, the blend lines aren't there, but there was still complexity with this one as well, because if you look in, I'll zoom in on the eye. if you look in the eye, you have this is a layer, right? And then this is a layer, and then this is a layer. And you can treat this several ways, right? You can have this as one whole layer, or you could just cut out that little edge. The issue with cutting out that little edge is then it becomes, then you have to like sit there and meticulously line it up. Those who have Cricut and who work with vinyl, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that was kind of the reason I chose this one, because this is the one that drove me crazy. When I first got my Cricut, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to design this, and I get this, and this. Oh, and I get, oh my, and I was so excited. But then quickly that was like extinguished, because I was like, oh, heck no. I do not want to do all that. That is working harder. And I like working smarter, not harder. So so for that reason, you know, this is why I want to teach this. It makes it a lot of fun. All right, so I'm going to Command Y. Okay, so the ways that, so certain things you can do in Illustrator, for instance, if I just got a file new. You guys have any questions on what I went over so far? Look, my Cricut peeps aren't here yet, but I did tell them that it is being recorded, and that they'll be able to see it, you know, later. Let me check for questions real quick. So I don't have this up on my double screen. Like I said, I'm set up in my living room. So if I am delayed at getting to any responses, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Okay. I don't see anything so far. I see the veil likes my shades. Thank you. Thank you. All right, sweet. They're the blue light reducing ones, and they help so much. And my light went out. Am I too dark on the screen? I think it is because it might not be plugged in. But if that's not a big deal, I'm not going to worry about it. But if it is a big deal, I'll plug it in. I'll find the plug. All right, let me plug in my light real quick. Hopefully that fixes the problem. I hope so. All right, so I'm going back into, are you guys still there? Can you guys still hear me okay? I just want to do a check-in just to make sure. Ooh, I don't know. I know there's a delay. I'm going to type in here. I just want to make sure, because I have done a broadcast before, and I thought I was talking, and you guys didn't hear me. Oh, sweet. Okay, Andrew responded. All right, sweet. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, so in Illustrator, if I want to, I'm going to hit create. So, you know, as an illustrator, there are certain things. So if we wanted to make, you know, let's say I want to make a face, because I like making smiley faces. So I'll just do that. So for people who may be new at Illustrator, I'm just going to do this real quick, and then I can go through in future videos or even in this video, and then I'll show you exactly how I do it. But I'm just going to make as simple of a face as possible right now. Okay. And then I'm going to make a smile. Look at that. Notice, though, I'm not doing anything difficult. All I have so far are shapes, right? So I'm just going to make this face of shapes. I'm going to, yep. That's how my mouth talks right there. See that right there? Big mouth. Yep, that's me. All right, so I'm gonna, hold on, let me center this real quick. All right, so making a face. Okay, so let's say that's the face that I want to make. One, I wouldn't, because it's not centered, but I'm trying honestly to not be so OCD about stuff, especially during lives. So I'm gonna see how long it takes for this to bother me, but we'll see. But anyway, okay, guys, I can't do it. All right, so there we go. Nope, that's not center. But anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a face, a happy face. So to do this, I could do one of two things. I could draw the smile on this side and the other, but I'm trying to show you the simplest way to do it. I'm gonna copy this. So I'm gonna go to Edit, Copy. And then I have shortcut keys, but I learned some people don't like shortcut keys. So I'm gonna do Edit, Paste. Eventually, we're gonna use these shortcut keys though. Oops, I actually meant Edit, Paste in front. So what I'm doing is I copied it, I pasted it in the front. It looks like nothing happened, but it actually did. It pasted one instance of the mouth in the front. And what I'm gonna do is try to figure out how I want to do this smile. My keyboard's not moving. Okay, well, I'll manually do it. So how I want to do this smile. Do I want this wide smile? And where you're seeing the shape, because I'm going to use the shape tool, is this shape underneath. I'm trying to see how I want my smile to be. So I'm going to, you know, maybe I want my smile to be there. Maybe I just want to go with a horizontal shape for the smile. But for now, let's just see what this is going to look like. That looks like a duck mouth. You guys see that? Yeah. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to do the shape builder, or I can do the pathfinder. And the cool thing about Illustrator and almost every Adobe program is in the properties panel, depending on what you have selected. Notice I have both of these selected. Let's say I had one selected, just so you can see. I have one selected, and it's giving me some options, right, that I can do with the one. I see the align option, and then I see options down here that I can call it the quick actions that I can choose. But notice what happens when I choose two. You're gonna know, I just want you to look over here in the properties panel. You're gonna notice that the options change. So I'm gonna select two. Notice it adds this pathfinder panel. So why wasn't it showing up before? Because you need more than one object in order to use this panel, okay? So those are the little things that I like to make sure that I'm paying attention to, so, you know, to help me along the road. All right, so with the Pathfinder, I can choose to combine these shapes, and probably you'll see this better if I have some color. So let me go ahead and add some colors. I'm gonna select this one, and I'm going to go to my fill, double click, and I'm just gonna choose any color. Right now, it doesn't really matter. And I'm gonna go to the next one, double click. I'm going to choose maybe a darker, vivid red. Okay. All right. So now I have these selected just so that you guys can see what's going to happen. There's also a stroke on each one. If I don't want the stroke, I can select them. Several options I can go. I can go over here to the stroke panel, right? To my, and I can click over here where the stroke is, or I can go over here in my properties panel, and under appearance, I can choose to say no stroke. So I'm going to choose this one. And then the cool thing about this, anytime you see the underlines in Illustrator, like the little dotted underlines, that's telling you, hey, there are more options that are there for you. So this is speaking, like I said, to my newbies to Illustrator. And I will have, I'm honestly planning to do a whole course through YouTube, if all goes well, to where it goes from Illustrator from A to Z, Photoshop from A to Z, and stuff like that. So I have a notepad, and I'm still writing content for it. But just future things to look out for, because I'm really liking this. All right, so I'm going to click on the underline or on the stroke, the word stroke, and then I'm going to say that what type of stroke do I want? I don't want a stroke at all, right? So, but in here, I can change options for the stroke. So I can go 25 point all the way up to 100 point. I think you can even, yeah, you can even type in here how many point stroke you want. So if you want that, you also have where you can change the cap, you can change the corner, you can change the way that the stroke is aligned. So when we think Illustrator, we think of paths and points, right? So everything is in a path and a point. So you can align it either to the center, which is the default, you can align it to the inside, or you can align the stroke to the outside. So you have options in there. You can choose dash lines. You can do some really, really cool things with this, which we will get into. You can add arrowheads, and you can change the profile. And we'll, like I said, we'll get into all of that when we get there. All right. Also notice that my fill has a question mark, and what that means is that it can't understand the fill because I have multiple fills in here, right? I have that pink, purple, and I have that red in there. So also note that if I don't want to go to where this dialog is, I have the options over here to change the strokes out, and I have the same settings over here to change the stroke out. So if I wanted to make the stroke 25 point, or if I wanted to get ridiculous and make it a 40 point, I have the options of doing that too. I also have the options of changing the color of the stroke over here, and you can change it individually. Right now, if I change it, it's going to change both because I have them both selected. So you have some options. But what I want to do is get rid of the stroke. I don't want the stroke here at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to my tools panel, and down at the bottom I have where I can choose the color stroke. The next one over is the gradient stroke, and the next one over says none. You know, like none. We usually call that like the no smoking sign or the no sign. I'm going to click that, and when I click that, it's going to get rid of my fill. Now you may be thinking, well, why the heck did it get rid of your fill? It didn't get rid of your stroke. So the reason of that, I'm going to undo that so that I can bring my fill back, is because I have right now, these are active. So what's active right now is my fill. What's in the background right now is the stroke. But if I click here, look at that, the stroke is active. So it's whichever one is on top is active. And if you look over here to the color panel, which I have open, you'll see changes change based off of which one you have selected. So right now I have the fill selected and the color. And if I click on here, I have the stroke selected, and it's showing you the color that it is selected. So with the stroke selected, that means the stroke is the one in the front. I'm going to click on this slash, and now I got rid of the stroke. So you have those options, but you can do some really, really cool things with the stroke. So I'm actually going to bring it back just for a second. No, I'm not, because we don't want to use that, what I'm thinking of. Okay, so nope, I'm going to take it out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, with these two selected, I'm going to go over here to my Pathfinder, and I have options. I can unite them, which means I'm going to combine them together, and now I combine that as one. So if that was my desired effect for the mouth, I could do that. It's not my desired effect, but if it was, I could do that. Next to that, I can minus the front, which means the object that's on top, it's going to subtract and make a new shape from. So if I click that, then I'll have this shape right here. And this is actually the shape that I want. But I just want to show you the other ones. You can actually choose it to select those intersecting areas. You guys can't see my hands. I talk with my hands all the time, so I was trying to talk to you, but you can't see. But anyway, to choose the areas that intersect, I can click on that, and it's going to make a shape out of that intersecting area. And I can be like, oh, that's kind of cool. What else does that look like? A lemon. What? So really, if you get used to using the shapes and using the Pathfinder or using the shape builder tool, which we'll go over at another time, you can make everything in shapes, and you won't even need to use the pen tool. So if you're one of those people who hate the pen tool, I love it. But if you're one of those people who hate the pen tool, eventually, you still need to learn pen tool, but eventually you'll be able to make interesting shapes just from the Pathfinder tool and looking at the shapes within. So it's kind of like stepping outside of the box. But in any event, I'm going to undo that. And then I'm going to go for the last one that you see right here, which is going to, instead of taking out the intersection, it's going to exclude it. And so now we have a totally different shape happening here, which is pretty cool. Now, that's not all, though. You also have this little menu down here. Check this out, which gives you more options. Click on that. And you can do a lot of things in this panel. We are going to go over this. I do want to just go over, I'm only going to do one. I'm going to go over one with you right now, which is divide. So I'm going to click that, and you're going to be like, well, nothing happened. That was dumb, right? Nothing happened. I've been using it all the time. Well, something did happen. You just don't know that is happening, but it did, my friends. So hang on. Click here. Okay. So see, all those shapes are still there. I went in outline view. The shortcut for that is Command Y if you're on a Mac, Control Y if you're on a PC. But I went in outline view, and you can actually see this view is going to be your best friend. It really is. There's so much stuff that you can do in this view. So I'm gonna hit Command Y, and what I'm gonna do is right now I have my black arrow selected, so it's my selection tool. Selection tool means it's selecting all. What I want to do is I want to, and if I go to move this or move it out the way, it's selecting the entire thing, right? What I want to do is I want to select different pieces. So that's a different tool that I need, and a different color arrow, right? So the black arrow selects all. The white arrow is our direct selection tool, and it's going to allow us to select different parts and pieces, even points. Oh, what? like, what that, right? So I'm going to go ahead, and now when I hover over it, notice I can get to these individual points, right? So if I'm like, oh, I'm gonna move this out the way, check that out, because I just divided it. Yeah, I did that. All right, so I'm gonna get the center, and I'm gonna move that out the way, and now I'm left with the shape that I want. Now, me being the person that I am, I sometimes will keep my shapes because later on I might want to use it in something else. So sometimes I'll keep my shape. But in any event, the shape that we have right now can go into Design Space and we will have no problems. Another thing I always look at is I look at my layers panel. When I look at what's happening in my layers panel. So notice we did this whole thing. Everything is in one layer. But Illustrator has a lot of sub layers, right? And they got groupings, and that grouping, you guys know we didn't group anything. That grouping happened when we used the Pathfinder to divide this out. It grouped it. And that's why when we went over with the black arrow, we saw like the whole grouping of shapes in there. So just keep that in mind. And we'll talk, like I said, more detail later. But if you click down the caret, you'll see all the things that made up in that group. Now, I'm a big person on naming. I'm not trying to name in this one because we'll be here forever. But I just want you guys to know is there. All right. So if we were to take this into Design Space right now, we would have no issues. Okay. We would be able to take it in. Design Space would recognize it because it understands all the shapes. It understands the groups. Even though I like to, one thing that I do is I make everything a compound path. Always. Everything a compound path. That way it is sure to work. I don't have any issues when I get into Design Space, and but if you want to keep yours, like this, you might be a person who doesn't want to go into, to make everything a compound path because you want to come back to it later and stuff like that. Totally understandable. So if you have everything a shape, a simple shape, you are golden to bring it into Design Space. But still, like, let's say I want to manipulate this just a little bit. Maybe I want to bring that smile up a bit, or what have you. I can. So now I have this cool face, and notice it's moving everything because they are grouped. I can easily ungroup this if I want. For now, I'm going to keep it like this just for a second. All right, so let's say I am ready. Let me go ahead and give these eyes some color. Maybe I'll make them black. Oh, look at that. So I made it black, and it only made the stroke black. You know why? Yep, you guessed it. I need to make sure that my fill is black. So I'm gonna get rid of that stroke because I don't want it. Also, this color panel is also your best friend. Also, if you don't see the panels I see, I just realized if you don't see the panels that I see, if I go up to Window and I'm gonna go to Workspace, I'm actually just gonna reset my essentials so I can see it like you. So yours probably looks like this, which is fine. But if I want the color panel that you guys saw that I had, I'm going to go to Window, and Window is like your house for everything so that you can keep it clean. You can have a clean layout. This is here, this is here housing everything in one spot. So it'd be like your house with everything in a cubby, which is how I wish my house was, where I had everything in this cubby, and then everything would have a place and nothing will be misplaced. That would be ultimate. But anyway, so that's what it does. So I can go down here and I can say, well, you know what? I'm looking for color. And you'll see every single window that Illustrator has is in here, okay? All right, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna grab the color. There are also shortcut keys. Shortcut key for that one is F6. For those of you, once you get into shortcut keys, but for now, we'll keep it this simple. All right, so I have, let's say, the eyes, and maybe I'll do something with the nose. I think I actually want to do something with the stroke on the nose, but in any event. But here's what happens. So right now they're simple shapes, right? If I just told you I wanted to do something with the stroke on the nose, so I'm going to say no fill, and this, I'm just going to work with the stroke. So I'm going to, maybe I'll have a nose similar to this. And maybe I will reduce the point. So I'm going to get the white arrow. I'm going to hit the minus sign, and the minus sign is going to give me the pen. But the other way to do this, let me go back to it, is if I go right below. So far we did the selection tool, we did the direct selection tool. Right below that is the pen tool. So if I click on the pen tool, and if you click, so if I just click on the pen tool, it's going to give me the pen tool. But if I click and hold, it's going to give me the pen tool and the anchor point tool. So I have options. So anytime you see that little fly out, you'll have options. If I was on my regular computer, I could zoom in, but I'm on a different computer. So next time. All right, so I can click on that little tab and get the fly out, and I'm gonna choose, I can choose the pen tool. Right below that is the freeform pen tool. And then selection tool has options as well. And we'll go over those individually. So what I'm gonna do, but if you hit the plus and minus on your keyboard, the plus is going to allow you to add an anchor point. Let me zoom in. All right, the plus is going to allow you to add an anchor point. The minus is going to allow you to remove an anchor point. So I'm going to remove that one, okay, so the nose takes on a different shape, okay? And the other cool thing that happens is now I have these control handles. And like I said, we'll go over this in depth. There are also amazing videos. Kevin McMahon has an amazing video. I have no idea why this keeps going out. Maybe it's on a timer. I don't know. But Kevin McMahon has an amazing video that for Illustrator pen tool as well, but I'll also go over it as well. But in any event, so you can you get these handles and you can manipulate the handles. So if I go back to my direct selection tool, yeah, I'm not quite sure, guys. So my direct selection tool, and I move this down a little bit. I can modify the shape. Let's say I wanted almost like a snowman nose. I can do that as well if I wanted to. So you have options in here, you know, to play with. If you want to smooth out shapes, you have options to play with that as well. But let's just say, hey, let's build a snowman. Do you want to build a snowman? I just got the idea because of his nose. All right, so, but I want to play with the stroke in this one. So let's just say, okay, so there's the nose. What's going to happen though? So if I go to, let me go to layers panel. All right, so remember I said shapes are cool when you bring shapes inside of Design Space. But the issue with this one is this is no longer a shape. This is actually, this is actually a stroke. And so if you go to bring this in, it's going to tell us that there's an issue. Either it's going to tell us there's an issue, or it's just going to bring it in and totally ignore it. And we don't want that to happen. And it's just because it just doesn't really understand it. I have seen some paths I put in and it let it go. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I don't really get what the science, you know, behind it is. I thought I had it. But I don't know why that happens. A majority of the paths that you bring in that have a stroke, it doesn't understand. So what happens is we have to convert this stroke. And there are a few ways to convert your strokes when you do them. So this is why you have to think when you're designing, though, because if you design a super complex, like a super complex design, and you haven't thought about it as you were designing it, the cleanup process becomes crazy and can drive you crazy. So I'm trying to teach you the easiest way to do this. Let me see if anything's in the chat. Oh, you see it. Okay, sweet. The easiest way to do this is to be aware of that at first and design with intent. Meaning if I want to make this car and I want this car to be this awesome car and I want it to have like all these spokes, and you have to think about the spokes as you're designing them, right? You can have super intricate details inside of Cricut Design Space. It can be as detailed as you want, but you want to make sure that in your details, you're thinking about it. So if I wanted these to be intricate or whatever, and I had a whole bunch, then I'm thinking about it as a design and I'm making sure that each one is a stroke. So I'm not saying, each one is a shape or a compound path. So we're not saying that you can't do that. You can do that. You can have designs as intricate as you want. You just have to be thinking as you're designing though. And you got to be thinking about it, because if you do it, like I said, with the Batty Laddie logo, at first I wasn't thinking about this because Cricut didn't exist in my world at that time. So when I created that logo, all I was thinking about was this cool logo that I could put on t-shirts, you know, iron on, you know, PNGs EPS files or embroidery files or stuff like that. So that's what I was thinking as I was designing that. But now that Cricut has come along, it's been pretty awesome for me. Now I have another layer, another that I have to think about of, oh, wait. So when I design this, I want to make sure that these lines that I create are gonna be shapes, right? Because I could design this whole thing and I could have a bunch of strokes. But then when I go to export it as an SVG and I'm going to bring it in the Cricut Design Space, it's going to be like, pump your brakes. So what I will have to do with this, if I wanted to bring it in like this, is a few ways. This actually is a pretty easy one that we can do, but I just want to show you this one. So I'm going to go to Object. And this object menu is so useful to you. There's just so many things in here, like slicing, paths, which we'll come back to because that's actually the one we're going to go into. Shapes, converting to different shapes, making patterns, repeating. This repeat is amazing. I know you guys are like those of you who are like, this is new, but it's, oh my goodness, what you can do with this is so cool. I'm in love. I played with it last night and I don't know. Definitely gonna do some things with that because I'm pretty excited about it. But so you have like different repeats you can do, like radial, grid, mirror, and Adobe. If you go to their site right now, Illustrator, it's all over it, and videos and stuff on how to do. So it's so awesome, so awesome. Blend is not one of my favorite things to use, but when I use it with Design Space or with thinking of Design Space, I know to expand it and I know to and to go through those process with it. Envelope distort, I love that too, so much. But when using Design Space, I know that I have to, work around it and stuff like that. And you'll get it in Live Paint, it's awesome as well. But when you're doing Design Space, you can use all of these things. You just have that extra step, a few extra steps to go through to make sure that Design Space isn't going to be confused by it. And that's all I'm saying with all of these. But anyway, but they're all there and they're all awesome. Clipping masks are awesome. Clipping masks are awesome too, but they confuse Design Space. So you just have to be, that's why I say you design with intent. And all of these things can be used. What makes the difference is, you know how you can decide to use this tool or do this process or do that process. You might want to change your process that you do, because you can do pretty much everything in Illustrator, any Adobe program, like 12 different ways, right? So I might decide, I want to make this, but instead of doing this process, since I'm going to do it in Design Space, let me do another process. And those of you who are wondering what Design Space is, so Design Space is a software that that works with the Cricut machine. So whether you have the Cricut Maker, the Cricut Explorer, the Cricut Joy, or whatever machine you have, Design Space is the software that you have to go through in order for it to communicate with that device. So so that's what I'm talking about, and I'll show you Design Space in a few moments. Let me see how much time I have real quick. Got 20 minutes. Okay, sweet. All right. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and I'm gonna go to Object, I'm gonna go to Path, and then I'm gonna go to Outline Stroke. I could also offset the path and just a whole bunch of stuff. But Outline Stroke is gonna change this from being a stroke to being a shape. So it's gonna form this exact shape. Offset Path will take and make a path on the outside of the shape. It's pretty cool. So I'm gonna go with Outline Stroke. And when I went with Outline Stroke, you will see that that stroke line that's in the center, right, let me go ahead and zoom in for that. So right now it's a path, what you guys see in my layers pattern. It's a path. Once I go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke, you will see that now it has changed to a compound path, okay? So now instead of it being that line with, in the center that you can manipulate in that way, it is now a compound path. Notice now I have more points than I had before to manipulate. So that's what happens when you do that. I'm going to undo real quick just so that I can show, since I mentioned it. That's my dryer. All right, so I'm going to mention the difference. And so sorry. So sorry, told you. Anything happens in a live. All right, so I'm gonna go to path, and then I'm gonna go to offset path, and see what it's doing is it's offsetting that path and making 2. Okay, so, and if I were to do this with intent, I'll hit OK, and then it makes it into a larger path. So when I hide this one, 2 paths. All right, so, and then again, I can select, select the offset, and then before I bring it into Design Space, I would again do the same thing. So it's nothing but a path, and I would just outline a stroke, and now one is a stroke and one is not. See that? So, all right. So that's pretty much, hang on. And now I'll go ahead and get rid of these, my friends. I actually like this mouth right here, but it's okay. All right, so I'm gonna get, so right now when I'm selecting it, it's selecting all 3. So what I can do, I'm gonna go into the group and I can just select out those that I don't want and send them to the trash can. And that was just, that's super easy. I'm just taking that and this one and just bringing them down to the trash can or clicking on the trash can. Or if I don't want to leave my artboard, I can just go grab the direct selection tool and select those 2 items. Notice they're selected in the layers panel, and hit the delete key or backspace key and delete it that way. So many options. I like having options. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I have one that's a path and one that's a compound path. I'm gonna hide the compound path. So with the path, I actually want to fill in this nose. And since we decided on a snowman, I'm going to change the color to orange. Anybody see Frozen? I love that movie. All right, orange, and hit OK. All right, and then I can't remember what you used to make the mouth of a snowman. I do not remember, but I guess I'll make it black. Yeah, that works. All right, so I'm just gonna fill it in with white. I might actually not have a stroke on this part. Okay, and then I'm gonna make it smaller because that makes sense. So I'm gonna select it all, make it a little smaller so that I can get a snowman, and we'll bring a snowman into Design Space. Yeah. All right, so now let's say I want to, and I know you guys are like, well, we don't see the outline. I know. I'll put a temporary outline on here just so that we can see it. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take just the ellipse and I'm going to duplicate that. So again, I can go to edit, I can go to copy, I can go to edit, I can go to paste in in front. And then I'm just gonna use my keyboard key. I'm gonna do shift and down arrow. Hopefully it's moving. Let me see. I think my keyboard is happy right now. I don't know what's happening. All right, I guess it wants me to drag it. Okay, so I'm just gonna drag it and bring it down. Okay, and then I want that one beneath. That's why I meant to do shift and paste them back. I knew why. All right, so I'm bringing this one down beneath. We're gonna make some buttons. We're gonna make a snowman. You know why? Because it is April, and here, I'm not sure about you guys, but we didn't get a lot of snow. My son is not happy about that. He loves snow. All right, so I'm gonna bring that one down, one more below. I thought I brought it down, maybe it didn't. Okay, and another thing too, the way that I just did it, in the way that we would typically do it, we can go up to, if we want to arrange something, we can go to right click, and then you can arrange, and you can bring something to front or back, or you know, whatever option you want. So I'm gonna bring this down here. Got to do the hat. Might not have time to do the hat. Let's do the. All right, so brush tool, another tool. I'm bringing it into light. So I'm going to grab the brush tool. I'm just going to go with its defaults, but there are options with the brush tool. Click on Properties panel. You will see that this panel changes based off of what tool you select. So right now, brush tool, I'm going to click on the charcoal brush just for now. And I'm going to draw out little arm, little twigs. And then another arm, twigs. I guess we don't put feet on a snowman, but you know what we do? Sometimes we'll do like a shadow or something underneath. Okay. Oops. I'm thinking I have a stroke. That's not what I meant. I mean to do this for a stroke. Let me go back to the ellipse tool and come on. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my layers panel. Oh, nope. I'm going to do what I just told you to do. So I'm going to right click. Oops. And I'm going to go to arrange and I'm going to send it to back. Okay. All right. So there's his little puddle or his little shadow. Properties panel with it selected. I'm going to change the transparency or I could change a blend mode, but we're not there yet. We're going to change the transparency a little bit. Just a skosh. Okay, so there's our snowman. I did mess up on one of the fingers. I messed up on so many fingers. So, all right, so I can move those items. My black tool and a black arrow. I'm going to move this right here. These are his fingers. They should look like they're a part of his hand. All right. So we can play with stuff all day. I just want you guys to know you don't have to be afraid of it. Okay. So, and I'll go to the layers panel and I'm going to look at these, and these are paths. We have that one compound path, which I want. Well, we have that. I want something that's going to give us difficulty in Design Space. You know what it is? All right, I'm going to minimize this. And then I'm going to, let's do some type. Say, snowman. Okay. You're like, how do you see that? I can't. That's it. All right, so I'm going to change the font. Also, properties panel, right? I have the type selected. The panel changed a little bit, right? So I'm going to choose something. You know what? I'm going to go with that. Typically, finding fonts is the hardest part for me because I love fonts and I get lost in fonts. But this time, I said I'm not going to do that. You know, guys, I'm a work in progress too. So you guys know. So I'm going to say snowman. I've never built a snowman without the hat before, but that's okay. Where I'm gonna do it today. For now. All right, so I have this snowman. I kind of want everything to be thicker, so I'm just gonna select all of these, and I'm just gonna increase the stroke a little bit. Okay. Yep, I'm gonna be okay with that. And then I'm going to, so I got type. Okay, so I'm gonna do two things with this. I'm going to, because I know the right way to do it. Let's say April. And I know the wrong way to do it. So I'm gonna say April Snowman. That's his name. So with April, because I don't care whether that's in there or not, I just care about Snowman. I'm gonna keep April as is. So I'm gonna go to Layers panel. And you're going to see that April right here. Now, that is super tiny. Let me make this larger. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how tiny it was. Okay. Hopefully that helped a little bit. But April, and then we have snowman. So what I want you guys to pay attention to, I'm going to close the color group for now. And I'm going to bring this out. Okay. I want you to pay attention to what happens in these layers. So right now, April and Snowman, they are type layers. I'm going to change Snowman to outline. So I'm going to go up here to, I can do it two places actually. I go to type and I can go down to create outlines. And right now, if you look at it, see how it's grouped? Okay. This group, because it's a group, will cause issues in Design Space. So what I want to do is I want to ungroup this, okay? But what I also want you to know is everything is a compound path. So I can go two routes with this. I can ungroup this, and then it'll have them all individually. So it'll be individual compound paths. And that's the route that I would do if I know that I want to make changes to something later. Like maybe I want to change the letters and move them all around, or maybe I want the letters to animate in another program or something like that. So if that's what I want to do, then that's the route I would go. But there's really nothing that I want to do with these. So what I'm going to do is just turn it all into a compound path, right? So with this selected, I'm going to go up to Object, Path, Object, Path, and then I'm going to go to, that's not where I'm going to go. I'm so used to Command 8. Let me see if you find it. Object, there it is right there. Object, compound path, and then make, or Command or Control 8 if you like shortcut keys. But I'm determined not to use shortcut keys today. All right, so I have the compound path in black, and a lot of people, if you're new to Illustrator, this would drive you crazy because you're like, oh my gosh, I just lost my color. It's okay. The color, just blend it into one. All you have to do is select it. You can either double click here and choose a color, or since that color is already in my panel, I'm just gonna click on it and make it black. Now, here's another thing that you have to watch out for. Let me bring this over here. Okay, so in Design Space, places like this, where that A and that N connect, you see that where they connect right here? You see that? That area is going to give issues in Design Space, because what Design Space does is any areas that overlap, it makes it transparent. So what's going to happen is you're going to bring it in Design Space and it's going to give it a hole, because it's like, oh, that must be what you want, because it's not, you know, that shape isn't together. So you want to go in and look at all of these spaces where there's overlap and fix that. And there's so many ways to do this, so many ways to fix it. But we're going to talk about, since we're only on the properties panel, we're not using the shape builder right now, we're going to talk about that. So we're going to properties panel. And what you want to do is unite it, right? Because you want this entire shape to be united as one. And you want Design Space to look at it as one. So I'm going to click on Pathfinder. I'm going to click Unite. And now, if we zoom in, you're going to notice all of those aren't, all of those are connected as one. So that's what you're going to want to do. So what you're not going to want to do is bring this April in like it is, because it's going to cause difficulty. And we can still get in Design Space typically, but just know it's going to cause difficulty. So what I'm going to do is, with our snowman, I'm going to go ahead and go to File, and I'm just going to Save As. So I haven't saved it as an Illustrator file yet, which is typically dangerous. Not happy that this isn't centered. I did tell you guys I was going to leave it alone, but I can't. Unless my keyboard doesn't let me. I don't know, my keyboard is not working. Neither one. I actually have two keyboards in front of me, and neither one are moving like they should. Maybe it doesn't in this program. Not sure. In like with the recording program? I don't know. But anyway, so it's not where I want it to be. My keyboard's not working. I'm gonna let it go. All right, so I'm gonna go to that was such a delay. I'm gonna go to File, and then I'm gonna Save As, and then I'll just call it Snow. And I'm gonna put the 1 so that I know not the one. I'm actually Snowman delete, so that I know not to, because I'm gonna delete it out of Design Space because I want to work on it. But Snowman delete, you name it whatever you want. I'm just gonna go ahead and keep it inside of my downloads folder because I'm gonna empty that. And then I'm gonna change it to SVG and not compress. Just choose the regular SVG. Hit Save. And then all of these presets are fine. You can change it if you have a different use for it, like if you put it on a website and stuff like that. But right now, all these presets are fine. I'm going to hit OK. And it's saved. It doesn't give you an indicator that it's saved. But you know that it's saved. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to, I think I'm going to have to change what is being presented. So let me minimize this. Yeah, I think I am. Okay, so let me go ahead and make sure design space. I mean, yeah. Okay. It looked like it froze. Are you guys seeing me okay? Thanks, Bill. Yay! So awesome. Are you seeing it okay? Because it looks like it froze to me on my end. I mean, like not the. It looks like in the screen that you have the snowman frozen. I don't know. I can't tell. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to click on my share so I can change what's being shared. So I'm going to stop the screen for a second. And now you see me in full view. Woo! All right, so I'm going to go down to share. And I'm going to share screen. And I'm going to share the different screens. So hang on one second. Application window, Cricut Design Space, share. Okay, hopefully you're seeing my design space. We only have a few minutes, so I want to make sure. So, Vel, I hope you are seeing that. All right, so now I'm in design space, and I'm going to go ahead and set up a new project. So I'll click on new project. Okay, and a new project, this is the typical design space screen that we're gonna see it everywhere. I made my screen larger so that we'll have more real estate, guys. All right, so in design space, we're going to go ahead and bring that into our canvas. So you guys already know, or if you don't know, if you're super new to design space, design space. Design space has the home screen. And it has the canvas screen. Canvas is where you're working on your project. The home screen is where you can pick projects that are inside of the design space for you, which are kind of cool. Like they have SVGs in there, and they have all sorts. I'll just show you. Why am I talking about it? Because I'm gonna run out of time. That's why. But it also has like your home screen, so to show you like some of your projects. The top is your projects. These are all my projects, and then the bottom has like some videos that you can see on tutorials and stuff on YouTube. And then there are templates that Design Space has, and you can modify the templates. I have a video on how to modify some of the templates already. But there'll be more videos and stuff like that coming. And like I tell you guys all the time, you tell me what you want, I'll create it. Even if I don't know it, my determination and ego is going to find it. You know, I really want to help in more ways than one. So I'm going to try to find it. And if there's a solution, you know, I'm going to find or work hard to find that solution. But in any event, this is your home screen. So it's pretty cool. But what we want, all you got to do is click on the little menu, go back to Canvas, and then you'll be in on your canvas. So what we're going to do is we're going to upload that SVG of the snowman that we just created. So we'll click on upload, and we'll click upload image, and then we're going to browse. And then there it is, our snowman delete. Let's go ahead and bring that in. And then there it is. See that note that says the uploaded SVG contained the following items that are not supported. And it says text elements, which is that one that I didn't change, which was April. And it says import anyway. And I'm going to hit yeah, because remember I said I didn't need that anyway. I only had that for the purpose of showing you that that's what's going to happen. So hit okay. But notice everything else came in. So it's coming in as a cut file, which is what you want it to come in as. There's and it comes in on a transparent background because we made an SVG. That was the purpose of that, to have that background transparent. Also to be able to modify it, because you do have the option of bringing in a PNG, but the issue with the PNG, you just have to go an extra few steps to modify it. This is the best way to bring in a file that you want to modify after. It is a cut image. Here is where I would put like the image name. I would put tags in case, because you know how you're creating a lot all the time. Us cricketers, you're creating all the time. So what you can do is set up tags, just different tags, just in case the lower it gets down the pile, the easier it'll be to find. So I could type in like snowman. What was that movie this is from? What is that movie? Do you want to build a snowman? Frozen. You know, but you can type in anything that's going to help you The snowman's name, I can't remember his name. Oscar Olaf. Olaf. See, that's for my son's in the background. Love that he said, right? So Olaf, or whatever is going to help you find this later on. Let's say it's 5 years and you're looking for this. You're like, oh, I remember when I built that. Look at that. You can say Olaf and it'll come up. You'll be able to find it. All right. So once you're done tagging, hit upload. And it's going to bring it into your we call it your image library, right? And what you have to do next is you're going to click on Snowman, and then you're going to choose Insert Images. And then Design Space is going to bring that image in for you. It's still loading. It's a large image. And what you should see, I think, is going to be, once it's done loading, it's going to be something up here that says, hey, this file is way too large, but I'm not seeing that now. So, okay, cool. All right. And if you want to zoom out, right here at the bottom, your zoom is always here. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Oh, because it's not as huge as I thought it was. Okay. So now we have this inside of Design Space. And as you can see over here to the right, you're seeing that it brings in all of those little shapes as basic cuts, right? So right here, the entire shape is, so we have snowman delete. If I go and close some of these carrots, snowman delete, snowman delete, snowman delete. This is how it's bought in Design Space, snowman delete. And we'll talk about later on how to make sure everything's bought in a little bit cleaner in future videos. But for now, this is how it's brought in, snowman delete, delete, all that. So remember, I didn't name anything when I was inside of Illustrator. And this is where that naming is going to be super important for you so that you know what's coming in when you get in Design Space. But that's okay. For now, like I said, I named it delete because I knew I was going to delete it out. But you can still go in. The benefit of this SVG is you can still go in and modify stuff. Let's say you got in here, like, I don't want that mouth. You know what I mean? You can get rid of it. See that? I just hit it. You're like, I don't want that nose. You can get rid of it. You can even go into the home screen or the images that Cricut has, bring them in and merge them. Maybe we'll do that next in the video. I'm not sure, but you can merge them together and form a totally different image. So you have options in Design Space. I love that part. And I tell you, Design Space, I was not expecting to like as much as I do, but I actually do like it a lot. So if I go to select it together, I'm not able to. You really have to do everything over here in your properties panel. So with this snowman delete, to see what everything is, I'm going to hide some stuff out and just see. So there, that's this whole area is that one branch that you guys see. So that's what's here. That's just how it brought it in as little pieces. But you can, so what I can do is I can merge once I find out where everything is. So let's see. That's the right finger. This is the right arm. That's the left finger. Left arm. Left. And then I think this is the right arm. Okay. So once I have, so I'm going to select. I'm holding shift, select, keyboard's working for that. I'm holding shift, select, and I'm just trying to select all the stuff on that side. Okay. So nope, I don't want to get that one. So I'm going to uncheck that one. I'm holding command. Oops. All right, let me select all these. All right, so now I have this arm selected. I can go down here to either weld, which means it's going to weld it together. I'm going to weld. And so now it is one. Okay. So this is why it's super important to understand, because I know some of you guys are like, oh my gosh, that's a lot to have to go through. And it is. I had to learn that as well. I don't know where that came from, though. See? And weird stuff will happen. It's just in the nature of the beast. And it does take patience to get used to Design Space, but it's actually been pretty good. It shocked me. Let me see. So in any event, in Design Space, you're going to have to do some grouping. And this is why you'll want to make sure that all your stuff is straight when you're in Illustrator. Remember, I chose not to name any layers. And this is kicking me in the butt right now because I didn't do that. But this is some of the things that you guys need to know. So to fix this, I can go back into Illustrator and I can start naming stuff the proper way. Oh, that's right. I'm sharing this one now. But I can start naming stuff the proper way and then bring it in the correct way. But let me see. Let me go to... I actually don't remember moving this. I think Design Space might be glitching, but that's okay. Hang on. I didn't get my patience for nothing, guys. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Let me click on this. Let me, oops. And, all right. So, but if I would have named it correctly, it would have came in the way that it was supposed to. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to select snowman. I'm going to merge that because that's just this part. Let me hit weld, sorry. Weld and merge are the same thing. All right, so I have welded that together. Yep, so now I can move this around. So now if I wanted snowman maybe down here, or if I wanted snowman, oops, maybe up here. Oh, look, another thing. Remember I said I wanted that hat? I can go to Design Space to get the hat, you know? So, yeah, I think my Design Space is glitching. I don't know if it's glitching because, you know, I got this video running as well, but some weird stuff's happening like that. Where it went outside of its box. That's weird. I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna put snowman here. And another cool thing, inside of Design Space, you can do offset. You can also do curving. So if I wanted this box to curve, I could curve it as well. We'll learn that in a future video. But I just want you guys to know. So there's my snowman all together. I welded it together. All of these little pieces, I want to know what they are. Because I'm like, oh, let's see. Snowman delete. I'm hiding it so I can see what's moving. All of these are for that branch. Wow, guys, look at that. All right, so I might select all of these and weld. Yeah, but anyway, you'd have to clean it up, but it's actually ready to be printed. Like right now I can send, sorry, not printed, to be cut. So right now I can send this to, oh my goodness, me, the Mac's not happy right now. Look at that. Yeah, anyway, so all I can do right now, I can actually send it to my machine and make it, and it will cut this exactly as it is. It's not gonna have issues with the stuff. I will be doing a video on how to clean up these layers, but I don't want to take that time up now because I didn't want to go beyond an hour, and I think we were actually at the hour point. And then I would save this project as well, and Design Space works like file. Design Space works like save. Everything is here on the menu for you. So I can choose save, and I can say, I'm actually gonna save it because I think when I do the video on how to clean up the file, I'm gonna do it on this one. So I'm gonna say save snowman lesson. All right, and that just tells me that I need to have a lesson. And if I want to create collections, so see, I have demo assets, and this is just stuff. Oh my gosh, the customer spelled wrong, so I gotta fix that. But this is just demo assets that I have, so that if I needed to, these are the assets that I built from demos, and that's what I have that. So I'm gonna make a new collection. I'm gonna call this one. I want to call it stuff to fix, but I'm gonna say demo. Lessons to be demoed. I don't want to say that though. I'm gonna say lessons. I'll say future lessons. Boom, that works. All right, future lessons. I'm gonna hit create. But I feel like that boxes me in. That's okay. And you get 25 collections that you can make. So you do want to make sure that when you make these collections, these are what you want. So I'm gonna hit save. I'm not quite sure that that's what I want that one to be named, but I'll clean that up later. So it's saving. It's going a little slow. I have to think. I think it is because of the software. That's okay. All right. So once it's saved, it gives me the arrow, and then I am golden. But what I do want to show you real quick is if I go into images, and let's say I choose hat. Like, let's say you really want a hat on there. Not saying I do, I'm just saying. So let's say I really wanted a hat. I can go through, I have the paid version of Cricut Design Space. So any of them that have the A, those are the ones that have to have the paid version, but they do have free ones as well that you can use. But let's just say I wanted to use any of these hats. I have that option. I can choose a hat. I can, you know, merge it in with mine. I was trying to find one that was free so that if you wanted to do one, and they have them, it's just because I'm subscribed that I'm not. Let me see. Like these are free. They don't have the A, so these are for the free ones. Usually when I show this, there are a lot more free ones than this, so I'm not quite sure. But in any event, I can choose any one of these hats and I can put it on my snowman. I like finding one with the least amount of difficulty when it comes to layering, because I always think layering. So for me, this one right here, easy, because there's not a lot to do with layering. This one right here, think of, you know how like we like to put highlights and stuff like that on our stuff. You put the highlights over here, that's another layer. And I, for one, have learned my lesson that that is not what I want to do in Design Space. So this would be one layer. This right here is another layer. You got to get that one perfect, that layer that's down here. Then over here is another layer. This is another layer because it's a different color vinyl, right? So that's another layer and another color vinyl. The highlights another layer. This highlights another layer. This midtones another layer. Oh my gosh, you will be in layer not heaven. So I am going to choose the most simple. And if you're a person, though, trust me, I am not. I know some of you love to weed, some of you love layering, and that is awesome. And I applaud you, and I think that you are amazing. And I would send my stuff to you to be layered. I am not that person. So all right, I'm going to choose insert image. And then, so that image is going to show up. When it's showing green up here, it's going through the process of loading it. There it is. So now I can just add this little hat to my snowman. And what I would want to do is probably match the, what do you call it? I'd want to match the stroke. So I would probably go in and do a little bit more work on that. So now that I have this here, I realize, so if with this hat, you notice when I have it selected, I have some options. This right here means you're going to delete. That X is up in the upper left corner. This rotate circle means you want to rotate it. The lock means you want to lock the aspect ratio, meaning so whenever you change it, the width and the height are going to change together. If you unlock it, you're going to skew it a bit. So that's what that is. And this up and down arrow is just what's, see that? The up and down arrow is just what's allowing you to move this around and resize it. So that's what's going on there. All right, I'm gonna move. Did I go over all of them? Lock, where? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna bring this over here. I might rotate it a little bit so it sits on the side of his head, you know, and have his little hat, you know, tilting like that. I don't know. I would probably fill it in with white. Oh, if you want to do color as well. Right now, this is cut to the stroke. So if I choose a color, it's only going to affect the stroke. But you can fill in that color. We'll go over that later by changing the shape. But we'll go over that later at another time. But for now, this is what we got. This is our snowman. So we could actually print this now. Cut. We could cut this now in the Cricut, make it a card or whatever we wanted to do. But that, my friends, is what I wanted to go over with you today. Just pretty much showing you some of the issues that happen. Let me hit stop sharing real quick. I just want to stop sharing the window. Okay. A lot of what happens, I did go 13 minutes over. I'm so sorry. But anyway, a lot of what happens when you use Cricut Design Space. And if you guys have any questions, ask me now and I'll answer it. So this is our question and answer session. If not, we'll end the recording, and I'm going to thank you for viewing. And I know some of you are going to view later. I owe all of you who have messaged me while the stream was going on. Thank you. And yeah, this will be up here for the duration. I'm going to add it to my video collection, so you will be able to come and see it anytime. So definitely. So, do you have any questions? There's one of you out there. You have any questions over anything that went over? Thanks, Val. She said this is excellent instruction. Thank you so much. You love it. You see it. Yay. Andrew says sounds good. Awesome. Thank you guys for commenting and stuff. Sweet. So it wasn't just me. All right. I don't see any questions coming in. I'm hoping I'm not missing while you're typing something. But I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. And I'm going to tell you that I appreciate you for joining me today. All right. Later. Next time we'll have more notice when I go live. Bye, guys.